Hey, it's Jude Walker from the Bruce and Jude Morning Show, 97.3 The Dog. This is kind of different. We're doing a Zoom interview with actress and singer and Golden Globe and Academy Award. And you won a bunch of things.
I haven't won a bunch. I've been nominated.
Oh, not nominated is winning in my book, okay?
Thank you.
Chrissy Metz joins us. We're going to talk about music, and we're going to talk about acting and life and everything, just kind of hanging out. We got some listeners that submitted in some questions, so we're just going to hang out. Let's get to know you a little bit.
Okay.
You're originally from Florida, correct?
Yes, from Gainesville.
Gainesville.
That's right. Go Gators.
We have a friend that lives there, and when my son was young, we got, UF gear, so he has a bunch of Gators gear.
Yay! Anytime I see a Florida plate, especially in LA, I literally will do the Gator chomp as I drive by.
Well, and UF, the Gainesville has the Swamp, and here in Lafayette, Louisiana, we're the home of Louisiana's Raging Cajuns, and we also have a sunken stadium, and it's called the Swamp. We're just not as big.
I didn't know that.
Well, now you know. You learned something.
Now I know. I spent some time in New Orleans when I was doing American Horror Story a couple years ago, 5 years ago now, and I'm a Southern girl, but I do not miss the humidity down here.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. LA, Nashville, a whole bunch better than Gainesville ain't. The weather ain't much different than us. I've been there.
No, it's not. When your kneecaps are sweating and you're not moving, what is going on, y'all? I'm like, don't touch me. Don't touch me.
All right, Chrissy, I was doing my research since that's what we're supposed to do as professional journalists. And you and I have a lot of parallels in life. We come from big families. You're one of, 5?
Yes.
I'm one of 6. You worked at McDonald's in high school.
I sure did.
I worked at McDonald's. And I see somewhere where your mom said you had to work hard. She wasn't going to get you these fancy designer jeans or something or shoes that you wanted.
A pair of Nikes, yep.
And I had to do the same thing, but for me, it was Z Cavaricci's. I know you're a little bit younger than me, but it was Z Cavaricci's.
Oh, I'm not that much younger than you. I do remember those.
And I saw where you lived in Japan for a little while, and 1 year in high school. Now, granted, South Louisiana, where we don't speak English well, they'll teach you Japanese. I took 1 year of Japanese.
No way.
Yes.
You might be able to teach me something because I don't remember a thing. Do you remember?
I know 4 sentences like domo arigato gozaimasu.
Thank you very much, right?
There you see, you remembered one sentence. Or onama wa nan desu ka?
Oh, I don't remember.
What's your name?
Oh, okay. Nan desu ka. Okay, yeah. So some of it in the back of the recesses. But you could teach me more than.
All right, well, let's move from Florida to California. You moving there to go pursue acting, and how was that? I mean, is LA really a scary town when it comes to trying to break it as an actor?
I mean, listen, when you're 20 years old, you don't even know what in the world you're doing, and you're going across country. Like, I didn't even drive on the interstate before I decided to drive all the way across country with a bunch of other aspiring actors. Mm-hmm. White knuckling it the whole way. I was afraid out of my mind. And then I moved there, and I had friends there that, were fellow actors, but I cried almost every day for the first year I lived there. It was like, what did I do with what am I doing? People are just sort of, everybody's on the grind. They're on their own hustle. Mm-hmm. But it was hard. It was tricky because I thought, gosh, did I make the right decision? And, when I first met my manager at an open call that my sister took me to, or I took her to, I wasn't even auditioning. I ended up singing for her, and I thought music was going to be my thing. I thought that's what I was going to pursue. And then my manager was like, let's focus on, comedy, and you're a comedian. And I'm like, what the heck? So, it's so wonderful now that I get to pursue music because it's something I've always wanted to do. So, I just took a bit of a, 10-year detour.
A little detour. Let's stick on acting a little bit. The little bit of acting I've tried, one of the things I could just never remember lines. Do you ever, how often do you forget your lines? Oh,
well, often. The thing is, for me, I have to really focus on preparation. And then if I feel prepared, then I'm in that moment and I'm authentic. But honestly, if it's like a huge monologue or many pages, it takes me some time. Memorization is not my strong suit. Right. So I get it. I
find it so fascinating. And then of course you're on this little show, This Is Us, and that's done well. And what, 4 years now, 4 seasons,
Yeah,
right?
we just wrapped our 4th season, and hopefully heading back into our 5th once we figure out how, with the pandemic and all that. Yeah, so I can't believe it's been 4 years already.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It sure does.
It's a
It sure does.
cliche.
That's right.
Um, well, speaking of acting and what we're going to do with through this pandemic, how is that going to work? I mean, we'll talk about music in a little bit, and
Yeah.
we obviously know that nobody's putting on concerts, and it's like we're not able to go to the movies. We don't get what's going to happen. I mean, how much longer before you're going to be able to get back into the studio?
Yeah, it's interesting because the executives, the studios, everyone's, the priority is health and safety.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to figure out, okay, do we quarantine actors in a hotel or a location, and then they can only stay there, and we shoot like everything, as quickly as possible, and test you every morning, and like make sure that there's a smaller crew, but the actors don't wear PPE, like the crew and the lighting and everybody, those people can. So that is their priority, but I just don't think they have figured out how it's going to work yet. But soon enough, I have faith, and people are very smart, and I think that they're going to figure out, like, either if we can be very creative about doing the show, whether we do it like on Zoom or we do it through our phone,
Right.
or like we have a small camera crew. I don't know, but I think we'll figure it out soon. Hopefully.
Let's hope so. Some of the stuff the live or tape to live, like the night shows and stuff, and Saturday Night Live, that kind of thing. It's like I appreciate it, and but it's just not quite the same when you don't have a studio audience.
Yeah, right. You don't have that energy, just like with live music. You don't have that energy coming back, and I know, especially when we're used to something, the way it sounds and feels and looks, and then it changes. You're like, oh. So I know. I'm hoping to figure it out soon.
Well, what have you been doing other than stuff like this and promoting your music? And what have you been doing during the whole quarantine?
Honestly, I've been just hanging out with my best friend, who luckily we're quarantined together, about a tetherball that some people might know about. I've been injured, but I've won, and that's the priority. And just honestly, like, a lot of meditation, a lot of sort of self-reflection, just using the time that none of us thought that we'd ever have, and really sort of now examining things that we haven't dealt with, specifically I haven't dealt with, or things that are bubbling to the surface. I'm like, okay. So, just trying to be introspective.
That's good. And I followed you on a lot of your social medias, and it seems like you just project this, hey, let's be positive. And I know we're all in this together. I know that's a cliche by now, but I like the way you project it and just your attitude about the whole thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, if you can find the joy and hold on to the joy, and then hopefully bring that to other people, whether it's virtually or Instagram or Facebook, we need that. I find so much healing and joy through music, or through artists who are painting and watching tutorials, like whatever's going to like soothe you and make you happy, and, give you a little laugh is important right now.
All right. Well, speaking of being happy, let's talk about your music. Just not that long ago, you got signed to EMI Records, which is, I know for our audience, like, oh, but that's like a big deal. It's like a big record label in Nashville. People like Eric Church and Gary Allen are on EMI Records, Brothers Osborne, and then now Chrissy Metz. And you got, I know, crazy, huh?
So
You're
wonderful.
a country singer, girl.
I know.
Was country always your genre?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up listening to country music. I grew up listening to every genre of music, but I always would come back to it, and the storytelling and the values of of country music, the musicianship, the just the raw, real, like, this is what I'm going through. This is, and can be stripped down and just so vulnerable. And that's something that, like, I really relate to, in telling stories and just trying to be trying to be comfortable in who I am, and then be able to share that with other people. So yeah, I always have like a leaning toward that, as far as like my voice sounded, I think, to some degree. So yeah, it's very exciting to be on this journey that I never ever thought that I'd have, but I always wanted.
And you're going to have a full album that you're, I think, in Nashville, you're going to be working on finishing up real soon. But your first single that you'll be sending out to radio, and it's actually already out, is out now. It's a song called Talking to God. And at first you're going, wow, must be real spiritual. And it is, but there's kind of a twist to it. Tell us a little bit about the song.
Yeah, so when I first heard it, and I didn't co-write this was found at Ashley McBride Writers Retreat, and some of my dear friends who wrote the song, and I heard it and I was like, oh, wait, okay. Because it's not, you see by the title, you're like, oh, talking to God, like it must be some, a religious song. And it could be. It all is, of course, up to interpretation. But it's really about, thinking about those mistakes or the decisions that you made or didn't make that you wish you would have made differently. And thinking about the people who are in your life or who were in your life, who I'm sure had a great impact or could have had a great impact, but they're no longer there, but you still wish them well. And really about forgiveness is really something that you do for yourself and not for the other person, and how important that is in our journeys of our evolution in our life. So I just heard it for the first time and I was like, oh, I want to do this. Please, let me cut this. And so luckily I got to, and so it's our first single off the album. So very excited about it.
Exciting. And you're going to be, like I said, completing the whole album. Any clue when that will be out, or that's just, up in the air?
So what we've decided is that we're going to do a 5-song EP here in the next couple months and then finish the album so we can get back in the studio hopefully soon. But that'll be, hopefully sooner rather than later, but hopefully within the year. Mm-hmm. But EP will be coming out probably around September.
I like the EP idea. I think that's where music is at. And unfortunately, some of us still enjoy listening to whole albums and just hear how it flows from one song to the next and the story you're trying to tell, but such a short attention span that many of us have. I think, that's kind of the way to go these days. A listener, Shannon in Abbeville, had said this one in. Who would be your dream country duet partner?
Chris Stapleton.
Really? Oh, that's a good one.
I do love Brothers Osborne desperately too, but Chris comes to mind first.
All right, we're kind of getting slow on time, so our a little short on time, so I'm just going to run through some rapid fires that I had written down.
Perfect.
I'm actually going to go, because since I did a little work. Celebrity you get mistaken for?
Melissa McCarthy.
Okay. Weirdest place a paparazzi has shown up?
Target.
Behind the red balls up front?
I mean, listen, I don't even know where the heck they were, but they got me getting the rug for my trailer for work.
You ever see your picture and go, "Gaw"? Want to send them a better picture?
All the time. All the time. Cool.
Favorite Kardashian? I don't know where I got that one from.
Oh gosh, if I had to choose, probably Courtney.
Good answer.
Yeah.
For something. Yeah. Something about LA that people like me have all wrong.
It really is. I mean, the traffic is pretty terrible, but there are so many beautiful places that it's worth living there for a time and trying to experience it, I think.
All right, 3 more real quick.
Yeah.
Louisiana fun. You're going to fill in the blank. See if you can guess these. I know you spent some time in New Orleans.
Okay.
Les bon temps.
Sorry.
Roulette. Roll.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, nobody's taught me that.
Okay, all right. That's
Roulette. Okay, now I know.
You're probably not going to get this one. Pinch the tail and suck the
head.
And in Louisiana, we pass a good...
That's a good time?
Yeah. 2 out of 3. That's not bad. That's not bad.
Listen, I have watched Swamp People. Louisiana, but
that's not the real Louisiana. But that's part of it. That's part of it. Well, you are a lot of fun. Thank you so much. We look forward to hugging you and seeing you in person and getting to see you play some live country music and listen to this whole album. And hopefully real soon on 97.3 The Dawg play this very first single, the beautiful song.
Yay. Thank you so much. So good to talk to you.
Thank you, Chrissy.
Bye.